I bet you can hear us now. See what happened, what had happened was I had it all set up, but I didn't have my broadcast set up in OBS. So when I created the broadcast, it started a whole new live stream. So can you hear me now? We'll get that going. Get this going. Got the camera. Got our little bulldog up there. Let me, I'm just telling a couple of people that we have a new stream. If not, maybe they'll find it.
Element 115 is here.
Awesome, welcome. Element 115, Chase. And I think Dana, because Dad's playing pickleball. Let's see, I had to start a new stream, so I'm letting some people know that we're on a new stream. Look for new. We won't do this for long. We'll get right into it. One more message. Okay. You can tell we ain't big YouTubers. That's alright. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get this party started. As you guys know, Carter and I, we left Thursday morning, went to Seattle just for a one-day event, but because flights were so cheap for just flying like on the weekends, yeah, I mean, if we flew like Saturday and Sunday, it was really expensive, so we just flew Thursday and then we came back Monday. So it was a long 4-day trip. What's up, Bob? We're going to be showing your fight here in a minute, but so it turned out to be a really long week. We flew all through the night last night. We really haven't slept today, so we're extremely exhausted. But I wanted to get this done, show the fights while it was still fresh in our minds. Now, one of the key things that you're going to see about Seattle and the Robot Combat League Championship is the fact that they use a pit, and they use a bottomless pit. So once you go in, you're likely not coming out. But that just is the way they do things. So when you're at their house, you play by their rules. Competition has gotten tough, and we'll do a Q&A if you guys want, so you can ask questions about Big G if you like. So needless to say, the venue was quite nice. Everybody was very pleasant. They had 3 arenas set up. They had a 30-pound arena, they had a 3-pound arena, and they had a 1-pound arena. We going in were very nervous because they had people there like Jetlag and Lynx and Wicked Twister and Firecracker, who's really fast. They had Dark Pummeler, which is a really bad bot. They just had some really high quality bots there, and this was a good gauge for us to see if we were ready to take on an NHRL, so that's why we went. Plus, Big G was ranked number 6, and that was just kind of cool. I know rankings don't mean a lot to many people, but we enjoy them, and so we wanted to go see how we fit with bots on a more national stage rather than just fighting in Florida. So that's what we went for. That's a compliment that you've been watching, Big G. Carter, your job is to help me keep an eye on the comments.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead. We're going to just get the Fado video out of the way. It's very short. This is when we fought Bob Bellinson, who's in the chat. Or Belanson. I think that's the proper way to say it. But he's got Jordan. And I'm just going to show you that fight real quick. It's not going to take very long. And let's check that out real quick. No cursing, Carter. They can still hear us. As you can see, Photo Doe, we had him as Gumbo. And on the right is Jordan.
Ready. We're going to start this match in 3, 2, 1,
And there you have it. The fight's over. You can see George's a beautiful horizontal spinner that hits like a tank. Photo was 3D printed. And with that hit, we should have been able to still drive, but we used plastic hubs. And with those plastic hubs, they just started spinning on the axle, so we couldn't even drive to try to put our wedges on him. But thanks, Jordan. You showed us all our weaknesses in one hit. It was brutal, but it was awesome. And that was the end of Fado or Gumbo's day. because right after that we had a Rougarou fight, we had a Big G fight, and then we went back to the pits. We hadn't even touched Gumbo, and we were going to have to do a chassis swap on him. And they were standing next to me saying, you're next, can you please come up? And so I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So we just forfeited. His day was done. We just brought him there as extra entertainment. Up next, we're going to talk about Rougarou. Rougarou finished number 33, according to the RCL rankings. He only fought for 6 months, which was pretty good that he was able to get into the top 50 or so. He's got a reputation for a really hard-hitting blade, but instantly I was having issues going into the fights. I was trying to use a pistol grip controller, which I've used in a past event with no issues whatsoever, but for some reason all my fail-safes were resetting. I lost a receiver, just a whole bunch of problems. Hello, Savannah B, that's our sponsor, and my wife in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and get to Rougarou's first fight. This is going to be against a robot called, what was his name? It was the Wedge. I'll tell you guys in a second. Let's go ahead and pull the fight up. We'll watch it. It'll come back to me. Hailstone. That's his name.
Huh?
I'm not going to make you watch all the intros. So
Get ready. Start the match in 3, 2, 1, go!
You'll notice in the bottom left corner, that slice I put in the door.
Can you move?
I almost cut all the way through the front
Pinball!
door.
10, 9, 8, 7,
My competitor, Hailstone, and Andy, Palm Beach Box there, trying to knock
3,
Rougarou over.
Knock the whole thing shut off.
He even tried to knock me over with the robot, which he did.
If he attacks, you're not out yet.
I know, but it's not moving. It's dead.
But my
10,
receiver was dead.
9, 8, 7,
So
6,
that's the end of
5,
Rougarou's
10.
fight. Did not go well. Why the receiver died so quickly, I have no idea. So, not too exciting. So, up next, Rougarou had to fight a robot called Strider. If you're not familiar, it's a brush drive bot that weighs 6 pounds. He's got 2 huge horizontals, one on each end, and he uses the vibration to kind of like, and the torque of his motors to kind of crawl across the arena. But as a weird twist of fate, they were running behind on the Beetles, and they decided to stick us in the 30-pound arena because it was slower, and it didn't have very much grip on the floor, and it did not prove to be very good for Rougarou, which you would think it would have because it would give me more time to spin up. But it also gave him more time to spin up. So let's go ahead. We'll check out Rougarou versus Strider and see how that went. Skip ahead, skip ahead.
Alright, Q3 working his way across the arena. Strider.
Okay, my first strategy, I was gonna let Strider come out of the box to make sure he could move before I even engaged. Kind of feeling him out. But that hit, he took out drive on one side.
Strider has a side down spinner wise.
With that second hit, basically, I have no drive. I'm basically using the torque of the weapon to try to crawl across the arena.
What I'm seeing is not working for me.
I don't know why they didn't count me out at this point. And there goes that wheel. And I just tapped out. Yes, they were Grand Canyon sized. So, Rougarou had a very lackluster day. But as you know, he is not our feature bot. Our feature bot is Big G. And this is the result of Rougarou's adventure with Strider. He just cut up my little motor pods here. I think both of my repeat brushless drives are still good, but a little bit of repairs to do. So Rougarou is done at this point. So now we're going to be moving on to Big G. We got Big G sitting right here. If you guys have questions like Chris about Big G after we show his fights, by all means, I'll answer anything and tell you whatever you want to know. But with Big G, the first mistake that we made for his first fight was the fact that we turned his drive up way too much. We were preparing for links, so we went with a much faster motor on the weapon, and we turned the drive up. So the first two fights with the drive turned up, we had all kinds of issues. But so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to show you his first fight. His first fight is against Dark Pummeler. What do you think about Dark Pummeler, Carter?
It hits hard.
Yeah, Dark Pummeler was no joke. Very nasty vertical spinner. But I'm going to let you see that for yourself. Let's get to that fight. Big G versus Dark Pummeler. And this one has maybe some controversy at the end. You guys tell me how you think this fight should have ended. What happened, Carter?
Great insult.
So, who would you have said was the winner of that fight? Let me switch back on my camera. So, as you can see, Carter, what happened in that corner? What's your definition of how you drove across into the pit? Say it loud and proud. From what Carter told me was he hit Dark Pummeler. When Dark Pummeler hit that corner, he was out instantly. He was KO'd, had no movement. Carter was trying to re-engage, but he gyroed up on one side, and with the drive increase, he just shot across the arena and landed right in the pit. Now they gave the win to Big G because they said that Dark Pummeler was laying there dead 2 seconds before Big G hit the pit. But I'm curious how you guys think that should have ended.
Ripperoni.
Yeah, he is a lot like Ripperoni. He's the first one to cut one of our wheel guards made out of trash cans all the way in half. But we did get that win, so at this point, Big G's 1-0. Yeah, we will go to NHRL eventually. Okay, so Big G with a 1-0 record. We didn't touch anything. We did switch chassis because we brought two Big Gs because the Big G that he was fighting was pulling really bad to one side. So he wanted to this is messing me up. So he wanted to use the other robot to see if it drove any better with the speed still turned up. So let's go ahead. We'll go to Big G. Fight number 2. This is against Abomination. Now, from what I understand, Abomination... Yeah, that could have been right, Bob.
That's what I was
I would have
thinking.
agreed with that, too. That's what Carter was thinking. A double KO is the way it should have ended.
That's what I thought.
So Dark Pummeler had all the argument he wanted. And we wouldn't have complained either way. But, with that being said... Abomination, from what I understand, is Repeat Robotics. That's one of his bots that he sent with the guy who drives Cobra Chicken and to bring his kit there and represent his kit. So just like the first one, this one's got some controversy at the end. So I want you guys to pay extra close attention to the end and see how you would have called this fight, and to see if the judges called it correctly. So let's go ahead and switch to that second fight. Turn off this camera, turn on this. Point at him. It's all the strategy you need.
Let's go. Alright. Red square, are you ready? Blue square, are you ready? Let's start. 3, 2, 1, go!
As you can see, we're getting it handed to us at this point. We just can't seem to get right side up in this fight.
Can you move?
And you see he's dead in the corner.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knocked out.
And they called him knocked out.
You have 10 seconds.
That was probably a bad call. Because he maybe he should have made a better effort of crab walking and get out of that red square, but he was missing drive on one side. I'm not happy with the way that fight ended, but beggars can't be choosy, and we took a whooping on that one. We should have lost that fight, I think. But let me know what you guys think. How would you have called that one? It was really tough, but the refs were very insistent, and so, it is what it is. That's not our proudest win. What do you think, Carter?
Glad we won, but it should have gone on.
So the fight should have gone on, and who knows, because we were still driving, it might have turned in our favor. It's hard to know. But at this point, we realized Big G's just not working it on the... I got to take this out when I talk because I can hear myself on a delay and it just throws me way off. But so at this point, we know Big G's drive he's just being overdriven. Carter's having a hard time controlling it. We're running at 70% when we're used to normally running 50%. So we go ahead and we dial both Big G's back down to 50% on the drive. And this is where you're going to see a big change in the driving. This is when things get a whole lot better. So our next fight was against Lynx. Now this is a short fight, but this was a good fight for us. This is what we went there for. We were hoping to fight somebody like Lynx to see where we stood. We made changes to Big G to go nose to nose with Lynx to try to win those weapon on weapon exchanges, which if you've ever fought him, you know that's extremely difficult. And let's just go ahead and take a look. Let us know what you think about our fight with Lynx.
Alright, is it now?
Driving straight or?
I was super nervous.
How nervous were you?
Red square, are you ready?
Just do whatever you
Blue
want.
square, you ready? Alright, 3, 2, 1, go!
And there you go. That's the whole fight. Now, you heard Calvin at the end say that was crazy. And he actually told Carter that he had him nervous on those big exchanges because I don't know this for a fact, but we're one of the few people to be able to go head to head like that and match his speed on weapon. We even maybe won one of those exchanges if we didn't tie him on all of them until the last one that landed us in the pit. Now, if you watch Link's all of his fights there, he positioned himself in that back corner and was basically kicking field goals the whole competition, trying to land people in that pit, which is a great strategy. Now, we could say that the stupid pit cost us that fight, but actually our weapon was destroyed after that last hit. The bolt that goes through, because we used the FingerTech bolt, was bent at like a 45-degree angle on the head side of it, and the weapon was done. So even if we didn't land in the pit, it would have just been a mopping contest. Calvin would have just mopped the floor with us at that point because we had no weapon, no way to defend ourselves, and our only hope would have been the fact that maybe his robot would break, which we all know does not happen. So it was kind of a blessing to find ourselves in the pit, I think. In the beginning, we went full throttle. We knew it was not going to go the distance, so we weren't really concerned about battery life. The way Big G is set up right now, we only get about 1.5 minutes at full throttle, and we were just swinging for the fences. So we just put the hammer down and went for it. To answer your question, Chris. And then what we tend to do is I time how long he's at 100%, and then if the fight continues, I have him pull it back to say 30%, and we try to ride that average. And even if the robot does completely die or the weapon dies on battery, we have about another 30 seconds or so of drive, so it would just look like our weapon went down. But yeah, that was like a feather in our hat, even though it was a loss. Calvin even told Carter, you know, about him being nervous on some of those hits. It was one of the toughest fights that Lynx had that day, I think, from what I saw. And we were honored to fight him. Super nice guy. Very accommodating, very nice, very complimentary to us. So let's carry on. Enough of the Lynx. So now we're in the losers bracket, and we are 2-1. Our next fight is against a robot called Double or Nothing. This is another D2 kit that's driven by a 6-year-old boy and his dad. So let's go ahead and watch our first loser bracket fight. Okay, you see the kid tap, and his dad was quite upset. The little boy thought that his robot was dead, but he was just high-centered on top of Big G. So what we're discussing now with the ref is, we're explaining to him that, hey ref, the kid really didn't mean to tap out. He wasn't sure what he was doing. Can we continue the fight? The ref agreed to let us go ahead and finish the fight. That's what the father wanted to do. And so that's what we did. We finished the fight. So it's going to restart here in just a moment.
3, 2, 1, go!
So Rex-a-lot in the house. Welcome, buddy.
Get out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
And here we're all trying to knock the robot off.
Sideways.
Knockout!
Okay. Hey,
And that was the end of the fight. So we gave him a second chance.
I wasn't gonna let him tap out like that.
He got stuck on the pit. And that's more of the result they wanted. So Big G is now 3-1. And we're going to continue on our journey in the losers bracket. Thank you, guys. We knew that he didn't want to tap out. What do you think, Carter? You got to get included. Say something. All right. I'll keep going. So our next fight is against Candy Striker. This is another NHRL bot. They have a beater bar. It's a red and white one that looks like a candy cane or a mint candy. And it's a pretty good robot. I think it's done well. I really haven't researched them very much. I just know it's a beater bar. Us having our metal bar, we felt confident against this beater bar. And so we had high hopes going into this fight, but you never expect to win. You just hope to win. So let's go ahead and check this fight out real quick.
Okay.
Alright, red square, are you ready?
Are you good?
You ready? Blue square, are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, fight!
What's up, Chase? We did run our weapon at 40% for this entire fight. We do turn it up at one point, which proved to be a mistake, but not a bad one. There, we just turned it up a little bit. And our battery's dying. Our bar just went down.
Try to get off you. Thank you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Let's go to the judges.
Wow, good job.
Good job.
Turn your weapon on. Turn your weapon on. Yeah. Make it safe.
Okay, so Candy Striker put up a good fight. They lost their weapon early. They took a lot of big hits. They kept going. The driver was super nice, and we got the decision on that. But you can see that they even finished the fight getting a pin on us once our battery died and our bar went down. So that's why during the fight we shouldn't have turned it up. We were hoping to end the fight early, and all it did was cost us our weapon at the end of the fight. So now we are sitting at what, Carter?
4-1.
4-1. So now we're going against Firecracker. very fast wedge bot slash fork bot. He's a pusher. And as you know, pits favor pushers. So we were feeling pretty good about this. We knew he was going to be running his long forks against us, but we were hoping that his forks were at too great of an angle and we would be able to chop into him before he could get under and lift us, which proved to be true. But this is where our luck ends. So let's just go ahead and see how Big G's day ended. And here we go.
Alright, red square, are you ready? Blue square, are you ready? Alright, 3, 2, 1, fight! So much for those magnets. So much for the magnets. Gotta release. 5, 4, 3.
What's up, Machine Cole? Welcome. Almost ended it right there. Welcome, Ohio Fred.
And then the half of me.
And just like that,
8,
we got served to the
7,
pit.
6, 5, 4, 3,
We tried to get out,
2, 1, knockout!
but to no avail. What a crappy way to end a good run. I really think that if we got past that, we had a good shot for the podium. But, you know, it never knows. With a pit there, you might always end up in it. So, needless to say, we finished 5th on the entire tournament. A great showing for us. We were ranked 6th, so maybe we improved by 1. It was a great day of fights. Bringing 2 Big G's was a great thing to do because it took all the stress away of having to thrash on one to try to repair it between every round. It was easy to be able to just swap to the other Big G, swap the radio channel, and just keep going. So that's how our trek ended. So we got 4 wind chips sponsored by Palm Beach Bot. They did sponsor this arena. You can see in our descriptions of our videos that that's where we buy our parts. Everybody in here knows who they are, so there's really no point in talking too much about it. But support the people who support our hobby and our sport. You guys have any questions that you want to ask or any comments that you want to make about the fights or what happened or what setups we ran or anything like that? Just ask in the chat. I'll go ahead and show them Big G. This is Big G after the event. You can see that he looks pretty good. The bolt holes are stretching on the sides, so these chassis sides are shot. Our little TPU insert that we added to make weight got ripped up a little bit. And you can see, because of the floor, you see that white film inside the robot? That's pulverized sand. And we got a couple hits on the chassis as well. But it was a good event. To give you a quick rundown of what we run on Big G, he's currently running the Mega Sparks for drive. We have to use foam wheels to make weight. You're welcome, Michigan Mashup. Thanks for stopping by and checking out our stream. The The weapon motor is made by a company called Tin Shock. It is on Amazon. They sell for $50. It's a 5150 kV motor. We're running the Palm Beach Bots 1050 mAh battery. All the beaters did hold up, and I'm going to try to show this to you. Let's see here. The fights were 3 minutes. See if I can get the camera to focus. If you can see this big gouge right here, that was from Dark Pummeler. And if you look at this beater bar, if I can get the right angle, you see how it's got a little bit of a bend on that leading edge. So this bar actually got bent down. It got bent in just a little bit. And that was from Dark Pummeler. That robot hits extremely hard. See, how did the repair parts compare to a standard event? How much more damage? We actually took the least amount of damage in this event. Big G tends to hold up really well. He's all 1/2" HDPE and the impenetrable garbage can. And we usually just run a chassis per event, so I mean it's about par with any other event that we've ran in Florida. We did not explode any beater bars. We did get a new one in the mail today though. I wish I had to wait for a 1300. It would be nice, and we wouldn't be sweating the weapon speed so much, and that may be coming in the future. But as far as the speed control, because I went over that we use the Mega Sparks. We use the Tin Shock 5150 kV motor. It's I think it's like an RC race car motor. Very torquey. And what I like about it is you can see how short it is. It's not a very long motor, but you still get the torque. So it gives you that much room for the battery, because this is right here is where our battery sits, in this little compartment right there. And then for the ESC, let me fish it out of here, covered in sand, we have started running this right here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. That's the Talon 60 by Castle Creations. It barely got warm. I think the highest temp we saw on it was about 130, 134 degrees. So any bots you want to face that you saw there that you didn't fight? Any bots there that you wanted to fight that you didn't get to? I wanted Big G to fight Strider. I think that would have been very interesting. I wanted to face Cobra Chicken because he's a pretty nasty robot. Who else? I definitely wanted to fight Jetlag, just because we know how fast he spins, and he says that his drum is a pound. Our weapon bar is almost a pound, so it would have been some pretty interesting head-on-heads. I don't know who would have won the exchanges, but it would have been fun to see.
Puka?
Puka, we wanted to fight Puka too, since he won the new bot tournament, because if we go out of town again, it is going to be to the NHRL new bot event. We're going to wait for the new bot before we bring Big G up there. Carter is tired. We flew all night. We didn't get home until 6 o'clock this morning. Yeah, Bob, thanks for helping with that. The event, the rounds were 3-minute rounds. But yeah, just if you have any more questions, let us know. We'll be more than happy to answer them. The event was great. Robert, or Rob, with the event did a really good job of putting it together. They did a great job of keeping things on schedule. They treated everybody very nicely. We had nice pits. It was a nice venue. Seattle was fun, but it's just a long way to travel from Florida for an event, especially for a one-day. Bro, jet lag would have been great, and this comes from someone on the same team as Lars. He's won many comps. It probably would have been some fun head-on-heads. I would hope, or I would like to think that maybe, not that we would win the exchanges, but I think the bulk of his drum is aluminum. So it'd be interesting to see what we could do to their drum. But yeah, I mean, we just want to fight the best of the best, just like anybody out there. That's the best gauge to see where you're at and what improvements you need to make to your bot. We know that we need to work on the traction and the driving. Well, not the actual driver, but just actually taking more time to set up how our robot drives. We pretty much just leave everything as it is on the radio. We haven't got into the exponentials and things like that to start finely tuning things. We just kind of run with it the junkyard way. Candy Striker bar, when we fought them, we snapped a few of their bolts off in their bar. So we could only hope that if we got to fight Jetlag that would happen to him. Especially if we were upside down or if he was upside down. That's usually when the bolts get sheared. What's our plans for Jordan next time? Let's talk about Bob for a second.
When?
We know that with Gumbo / Fadodo, whatever we decide to name him, his ears being out of that Polymax PLA, he does very, very well against wedges and viper kits and things like that. He punts them off the roof all day long, but horizontals are our nemesis. So I don't know if we're going to have to add carbon fiber or some kind of Lexan or something to support those uprights. TPU with Vitaflex. Yeah, we'll have to check into that. The bot's just so heavy. Our chassis weighs 0.8 pounds, but with the beater bar weighing, the true actual weight of the beater bar with no pulley and bearings is like 13.26 ounces. And it's just hard to get the weight to get something other than a foam wheel on there. But our chassis sides, they're already cut down to nothing. If they weren't connected with carbon fiber, they're almost like a limp noodle. We rely on the carbon fiber bottom and top plates to make everything nice and rigid. Yeah, UHMW flaps, that would be nice. But we don't know if Fadodo or that version of Gumbo Fadodo is going to continue. We have some little 7-ounce beater bars that are half the size of Big G's beater bars that we're going to incorporate on our new ant weight. As soon as I can figure out how to make an ant weight that only weighs 8 ounces without the weapon. Mom's super proud of you, Carter. Carter's wore out. I'm wore out. We had very long days. We got to go through Seattle and see Pike's Market. We got to see the Space Needle. We went to the Pop Culture Museum. What else did we do? We went to the Armory and we hung out there. We got to meet a lot of the BattleBot builders. We saw Bunny. We saw Small, David Small. We saw, who's the guy that drives Claw Viper?
I don't know his name.
I forgot his name. But, and then of course, you know, Calvin Eba. We got to lose to him. It would have been nice if we could have beat him. Maybe next time we will. We're definitely going to try. No problem. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We appreciate you stopping by and listening to our recap. I just figured it was better to record the fights and just do a live stream and recap everything as we did it and try to answer questions rather than just do a vlog with, you know, music and things like that. So, yeah, Kevin, thank you. I'm terrible with names. And Claw Viper was there, and they had a version of Big Deal, the new version of Big Deal there as well. So it was very cool to be able to see those robots up close. Thank you guys for the compliments. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chris. Team 51 Robotics, Chase, and Miss Dana. Thanks for stopping by. Who else do we have today? We know Mark's out there. Machine Cult. Some of my good friends. Redwire Robotics.
Michigan
Mashup. Who else? Ohio Fred. He's a good friend of mine. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun hanging out with you guys. So, thanks again. Keep it safe. Keep fighting. Our next fight is going to be on the 27th in Tampa, and we'll probably be doing this all over again. Till then, we're Team Junkyard Dog, and we're out. I probably just killed the stream too early.